everybody, and welcome back to another Big Hitters FPL podcast. Today is our very first Premier League video of the new 2021-2022 season. Of course, after the new fixtures got released on Wednesday. So we'll be talking about the fixtures and who's got the best run-ins, the worst run-ins, a very exciting game week 1 coming up, and all sorts of things like that. But first of all, as usual, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, The Big Hitters, and make sure you also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Big Hitters FPL. Of course, with the Euros going on at the moment, we do have a Euros Fantasy League, and the code for that is 350UK 8EB07. So make sure you join the competition there. We will have a couple more Euros videos coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. But like we said, so fixtures video for you today. Let's take a look at, first of all, what's looking to be a very, very exciting game week 1. So, this is game week 1. As you can see, some cracking fixtures here. So, first of all, which fixtures take your fancy the most?
I think it's pretty obvious, even though none of us support either of the teams. I think Spurs, Man City is probably going to be the biggest game in the first game week, followed by United Leeds, I think, second biggest, to be honest. But yeah, I think the fixtures are quite good.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Jake, you can see a big clash. You've got United Leeds, which obviously last season was quite high scoring at Old Trafford, so quite a good game. In terms of fantasy assets, you'd want to triple on Liverpool. Obviously, Salah, Mane, maybe a punt on Mane would be a good differential. But yeah, Norwich aren't particularly strong. And as well, maybe some Arsenal assets, ahead of the new season. Brentford away. These two newly promoted teams are slightly inexperienced. So, but yeah, overall, a good opening day.
I think Brentford might surprise Arsenal, to be honest.
Interesting.
I think, Leeds nearly upset Liverpool on opening day, and, it's Arsenal, so...
I see. I was just going to say about how actually we're all getting excited about Brentford and, Ivan Toney, and even getting excited about Norwich, Todd Cantwell, Aarons. But just in general, I think for those promoted teams, the fixtures aren't looking too great. So I think it might, because there's always optimism before the fixtures come out. You are going to get everybody in, but then obviously some teams just don't have good fixtures, so you have to avoid them. But I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, since this picture, it's been confirmed that Arsenal-Brentford on the Friday night to kick the season off. That is, of course, Friday the 13th. Not a great sign there, so hopefully we shake off the curse of Friday the 13th. Just one more thing about the new season is the reintroduction of 3 o'clock kickoffs, which is very exciting for me. I mean, unfortunately they're not all televised, but having 5 games on at the same time every week is going to be great. What do you think? Looking forward to that?
Yeah. I think that's what was missing in fantasy last season. You had to wait a while between games.
Yeah, I agree with Jake. Makes it a bit more nerve-wracking because you've got more time to think about your team between the fixtures. But the action will be coming thick and fast. So we might be doing a few watch-alongs as well. Keep you updated for those 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to watch them though if they're not on mainstream TV. We might have to get our dodgy streams at the ready.
Yeah.
We'll try our best. Anything for the viewers. Another thing to say is Spurs Man City. Is that maybe going to be Kane versus Spurs, or still Kane versus Man City? Could we see a Kane back against his old team straight away?
It's hard to say, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I initially thought that Kane might have stayed at Tottenham. Sort of same situation as the Messi situation. However, now with the manager situation, I think a player like Kane will need a world-class manager. So, if you do appoint an inexperienced manager, then I think you might leave. The race for Kane is still very open, still early to tell. But yeah, that will be an interesting fixture. Yeah.
What do you think about his Euros form? Do you think that may be putting off a few teams, maybe lowering the price tag?
I don't think it should, to be honest. Yes, he's not scored in the 2 games he's played in the Euros, but I don't think. Firstly, it's not playing in the Premier League where he seems to rack up goals each week. But no, I don't think you can. I don't think that'll affect the price much at all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jake. I think with Kane, I think international football is very different to Premier League. I think Premier League's a bit more fast flowing, suits Kane a bit more. Whilst international football might be a bit more slow. And he might be thinking about his future. For a player, it's quite difficult. You don't really know what's going through a mind of a player. Obviously, quite a lot going behind the scenes at Tottenham. So it's a big moment in his career. So he might be a bit slightly distracted. But Kane, form is temporary. Class is permanent.
It's your favourite saying, isn't it? Right, I think the next thing to look at might just be the fixtures in the long term. So let's take a look at the fixtures in the long term, starting with the teams that have the best fixtures in the long term. Right, so here we've got a chart thanks to @FPL Big Andy on Twitter. And, well, quite clearly Everton with some brilliant fixtures early on. Brighton, Liverpool, Watford also with some good fixtures. So let's talk about Everton first. Are you thinking double up, maybe even triple up in the first few weeks?
I mean, Everton were great at the beginning of last season, so again, might be a good idea to at least double up. But they can still be pretty unreliable. So I wouldn't go so far as a triple up. But I think possibly like DCL and possibly Digne are 2 good options for the first few game weeks.
Yeah, I agree with Jake on Everton. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin started the season really well. And with these fixtures, he'll be confident. And perhaps a double. Yeah, I'd go for a double up, triple up. As Jake said, they're quite unpredictable. We still don't know their manager style of play. So yeah.
Yeah, you said about it there, but a new manager will be coming into Everton. So maybe a new manager bounce, maybe new chances for players. Can't really think of any off the top of my head, but Digne, I guess, will get forward a lot maybe, depending on the manager. Yeah. But we'll have to see who's the new manager, because it could be very interesting. And then a couple of other interesting teams are firstly Liverpool, and secondly Watford.
Yeah.
Firstly Liverpool. Do you think a triple up's pretty much... You need triple up on Liverpool for these first few weeks? Maybe a double up at least?
Yeah, I think at least a double up. I mean, I think it might be interesting to see in the first few games where kind of who's going to be the main goal scorer, because it was kind of unclear for most of last season, to be honest. So maybe hold off on triple up for the first few weeks. I think definitely get a defender in for most of the fixtures. Almost guaranteed clean sheet, I'd say, for most of them. But I'm not sure about doubling up on attack yet.
Yeah, I agree with Jake. Some really nice fixtures, obviously. Apart from the Chelsea fixture.
Of course.
I mean, I'm just stating the facts here. Um, you can see it's dark pink. So you can't argue with that. But yeah, I think with Liverpool, we still don't know, as Jake said, who will flourish, who might be rotated. The Jotters, all those kind of players. With Watford, personally, I'd say if there is, I wouldn't target them from a defensive aspect, but if for example Saar is cheap, then you could try to have a punt on him. But yeah, I'd for the minute, I think for the promoted teams, I'd stay away from them slightly, just to understand how they will do. How they will do and how they will approach the season. So we don't know much about them. So yeah.
The thing with Watford is they don't really have one player that you can rely on to score week in, week out. Like their top scorer in the Championship last season was Saar, but only with 13 goals, which isn't really someone you want to be having in your team where you don't know if they're unlikely to score, really.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'd say, yeah.
I think they've got decent fixtures, but I'm not sure if there's anyone in particular that I would need to have in my team that would be first in the team.
Yeah.
If there's a cheap midfield spot, I guess Saar would be a good option there, but I'm not sure I'd be in such a hurry to get Watford players.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the last thing we should talk about is the flip side of these, which are the teams with the bad fixtures in the rundown. Right, so this is the second half of the chart, with all the rubbish teams, well, not the rubbish teams, but the teams with rubbish fixtures. And some big teams on here, the likes of City, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, all with supposedly harder fixtures in the first 6 game weeks. So we'll start right at the bottom there with Norwich, promoted team with poor fixtures. Does this put you off maybe Timu Pukki, Max Aarons?
Well, I think they've got 3 really tough fixtures there.
Oh my god.
Thanks to Sky Sports.
Would it really kill you to just say 4? 4. It's literally it's the same number of syllables. Come on, please.
For your for the benefit of the new viewers, if you don't know this, but so Noah's an Arsenal fan, Jake is a United fan, and I'm a Chelsea fan. So we generally sort of joke around with Arsenal. So there's a bit of competition.
Oh, dear.
But on a serious note, the fact that Arsenal is only a grey fixture, not even a red fixture, is a bit disappointing.
Arsenal are going to prove you all wrong next season. You'll see.
Sky Sports said themselves that you're not a big fixture anymore.
Yeah, but we are. Fine, I'm not even going to argue about this. Okay, let's move on from Norwich. I guess we've established that Norwich players, no.
Yeah.
Especially that 4th fixture there. Really tough. Next big team, I think we'll talk about Ludo's Chelsea then, because they're also got the joint worst fixtures in the beginning.
Well, yeah, I think they have got not the greatest fixtures, but I'd say having one defender won't do, isn't a bad idea. Obviously, under Tuchel, Chelsea are known to be very defensively solid, so you might have a punt on him. Obviously, we still don't know the exact prices on Chelsea defenders. We might also have Hakimi coming in, a very exciting signing. So, he might be a good punt. He gets tons of goals, assists, fits Chelsea's play. So yeah, I'd say it's quite. Chelsea have got quite hard fixtures, but I think we are champions of Europe, so you can't really underestimate us.
Okay, then, and then 2 teams who have got a combined difficulty of 20 are Man City and Leeds. Firstly, Leeds have had a brilliant season last season, both in Premier League terms and Fantasy Premier League terms. But with these harder fixtures, again, does it slightly put you off Patrick Bamford, Rafinha, Dallas, or are they still good to have?
I mean, it's tough to say because Leeds are very unpredictable, but in a good way, almost. Because I mean, Dallas likes to surprise all the time. To brace against City last season, which you can't forget about. But yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I guess when we start doing drafts, I'll have to have a look who fits into the team and who doesn't.
Yeah, personally, I think my strategy next season is obviously try to avoid taking hits. But I think my strategy is obviously looking at these first 6 game weeks. Obviously, we know who to target and who not to target. But maybe in game week, one of the early game weeks, say game week 8 or game week 9, you might wild card maybe because we know a bit more how the season's turning out to be, and Leeds will probably have better fixtures as the season goes on. So yeah, that's an interesting one, Leeds, because they do often score goals. Quite an unpredictable team. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would probably stick with Dallas, but I'm not sure an attacking player really. I'm not sure it's a hard one because there are a lot of other better options maybe out there, but we've still got a long time to think about it. Let's not forget. So
Yeah.
a lot can change between when we have to submit the deadline in 2 months' time. But I think we will leave it there for today's episode. Hope you've enjoyed watching this. I hope you enjoyed our new graphics, our new intro, and some new transitions. We're back for the new season, and again, make sure you subscribe to get this weekly content. We've got a couple of Euro videos coming out maybe next week, a couple of weeks, and then after the Euros, full steam ahead to the Premier League. So exciting stuff there. But I guess we will see you on the next one. But for now, goodbye.